Please welcome to our second community town hall, Bill Spelman.
Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate your sacrificing some time on such a nice day with so many other things going on. Our last town hall meeting was on a Saturday in Oak Hill. We got a lot of people showed up, about 40-something we counted. We were talking about public participation in government, not more of it, but getting the right kind, giving people the information they need to allow them to participate more effectively along the way. And it was really a very helpful thing. And the reason it was helpful is because we all came in with some clear ideas as to what the problems were, and we were looking to the people who participated as to what they thought the solutions were. What kind of things do we not know that we could put into practice over the next 3 years in City Council. So I'm hoping the same kind of thing happens here. Our concern for this town hall meeting is twofold. It's the economy and the budget. The budget is something which, of course, is famously up for grabs. Everybody knows this is an issue. We lost about $50 million off of the general fund in the last 12 months. There's a possibility we're going to have to lose some more in the next budget year. And how we should handle that as a city, whether we should raise taxes and fees, whether we should reduce spending, what combination of those two things we do is I think, up for grabs. It's something which the City Council needs guidance on, and which the City Manager is going to need guidance on over the next fiscal year in framing that next year's budget.
We want to tap into your thoughts and your opinion on what's happening out there, what you're seeing, whether you're a small business owner, whether you are recently laid off from a position, whether you're very concerned about your existing position. We want to start a dialogue here and really go into what those concerns are and how we can help. As Bill is going to be sitting on the dais in place 5, he's here to listen and be able to really understand what the issues are so we can address those issues. But this is where we can shape our city with this type of participation we're doing here today. This is an editorial that was in the Statesman on the 12th, this past Sunday. The current fiscal year is a walk in the park compared to what the City of Austin taxpayers will experience in fiscal year 2010. This is all according to the budget. This year, Austin's municipal government filled a $45 million budget gap. $45 million budget gap. That gap is expected to be even wider next year. Small wonder then that the economy and the budget have taken center stage for the May 9th municipal election. At the city manager forum that we had for the budget, the big discussion was the libraries. That everyone's, we're cutting the libraries. Please stop cutting our libraries. Every time there's a budget cut, the first thing that seems to go is the library. That's what Ian is holding up right there. So you'll see as you go through that some of the different pieces, what kind of interest income we're getting, other revenue, the shortfalls that we're experiencing, the property tax revenue, all that fun stuff. And what I want to do is ask a question or two to kind of start this budget discussion. One of them is going to dovetail from our previous conversation. It has to do with how should we spend our federal stimulus money. As you mentioned earlier, there are these green jobs, there's green energy, there's shovel-ready projects. We've got the federal courthouse that looks like it's going to be happening downtown. A lot of this will go for roads and infrastructure. But if you were in Bill's seat and if you were asked, with regards to the stimulus money, where this should be going, anyone have any direct thoughts for Bill as far as what we should be, what would give us our best return on our investment based on everything we just talked about, which is a great conversation leading to this. I know, Roy, you've got a comment.
Weatherization.
Weatherization is your big, as far as being able to incent those. Anyone else have comments about what we can do based on the money that we're getting? What would give us our best return? Obviously, weatherization is an obvious one.
Well, just energy efficiency in general.
Education.
Education.
We need to invest in improving our school system.
So they're building their own future. Now, is
why wait for somebody to get a job? Make your own job.
What was the city's play? This sounds like it was driven from the school system. Was there
No, it was actually a social movement there because, some of the districts in Chicago are just dirt poor, and these people don't have, they don't have money for $40,000.
So it's driven from individual in the neighborhood, it sounds like.
Yeah, they don't have $40,000
Did the city have a
university education.
For Bill's, what about, was the city a factor there at all, or was it something that maybe we can...
Nope, it was neighborhood community based because these people came around.
We can trumpet that as a great success story.
Absolutely. Let's go make some
You've got a comment back here?
To go back to incentives, Kirk Watson is pushing a bill this term that would allow you to spread the payment of the cost of weatherization, appliances, that sort of thing, improvements to your property over a set number of years, and it would be part of your property taxes.
I think Spelman has it in the House, and
Yeah.
Watson has it in the Senate.
I think it's an excellent idea.
Yeah, I agree.
And if it doesn't pass this term, the city should do everything it can to help it pass next
To
term.
lobby, that's a good point.
Because that would, a lot of people would get on board if they weren't faced with a huge upfront cost.
The city has a legislative agenda, and they have, I mean, folks out there that are lobbying for certain bills and against certain bills as well, so that's a good point. that-
Teeny staff, though, they're very, very
Yeah.
overburdened, so it's
Is that
very
right?
hard. The people fight for those
But
priorities.
there's a
so it's
place
good
for that
idea to-
comment, is
It's
my
a good
point.
idea the more voices you have pushing, saying, this is really, really important, the more likely to get the attention in government affairs.
Rod, on, you know, if you were in Bill's seat as one of the council members, what do we do when it comes time that you have to cut some kind of services? You know, or maybe you have some kind of plan that we don't have to cut, maybe we can drive some kind of revenue. But what do we do at that point? Someone open that up and start asking some questions of, you know, what do we cut? Why do we cut it? How do we get through this tough period? So your point, I mean, the public safety, that's where we have an opportunity maybe to shave
Everybody
some.
needs to share the pain.
Yeah, okay. Does anyone agree with that, or anyone on the opposite side that,
I have
you haven't commented yet, ma'am, I want to have you. Hi.
I've been in
I'll get
front
back
of
to you.
city council several times, and, you know, I hear your concern, but I've got an opposite concern.
Okay.
Rather than cutting public safety, when we have people running around in Kevlar vests and AK-47s and girls being set on fire in the street, we don't have enough police to cover the crime, and I can send anyone that wants it more information, more data than you ever care to see.
So
I've
you
been
have obvious
tracking it since
concerns if we were to
2005.
cut the salaries.
Yes.
Now, you're not
Yes.
saying the actual workforce, you're just saying the
Not cutting the
salaries.
workforce, but cutting the salaries.
Salaries, which may
May address
potentially.
that, but, you know, the
Right.
APD, the reason their budget's so high is because they're unionized. And I don't know how we can get around that. It's not that the budgets, we don't get the same number of feet on the street for X amount of dollars that another city gets because we pay them a lot more.
So let me ask you, what, if you, at the overall pie, if you had to make some cuts, police would not be your first pick.
Absolutely not.
What would you advise Bill as far as what would you cut if, unfortunately, if you had no choice but to make some kind of a,
Well, I'm glad you asked that. I would ask council to review the high dollar bond packages, to postpone them or cancel for quick hits. For instance, the Waller Creek Tunnel, $127.5 million, recurring annual.
but you're-
But do we really need, or can we really afford to have the highest paid police force
okay,
in
so
the
that's
state?
another vote for police as far as if we had.
I'm with him on that.
Roy's had his hand up, and then yourself next, and then Roxanne, you want to also, or did you have your hand up or no?
I just had a question.
Okay, let me get Roy, he's had his hand up for a while.
Well, I'm gonna keep harping on WTP4, water treatment plant number 4, and I was going to say I hate to do that, but actually I don't hate to do it. That's $500 million. We've got a water conservation program in place, partially in place.
And Roy, just to step back, this is a plant they're considering building and adding to, right? This is a potential major investment for City of Austin.
Right,
What are-
it's a major investment for the city of Austin.
Millions and hundreds of
That
millions.
this $500 million, $500 million estimated. When have we ever hit one of those estimates? So it's, I mean, just like the South Texas nuclear project, too cheap to even meter.
So
Well,
is it conservation? I mean, we had some mandatory water regulations, and that actually made a difference, right?
and
Or
it's,
you-
the
can't water your grass on
conservation
this
ordinance
day, or-
that was passed has only been partially implemented. And already, it has far
Huge
exceeded
success.
the expectations of the city and.
So there's an area that maybe we can do something and potentially not have to cut salaries if we actually
Right,
benefited,
do
right? from-
not invest $500 million into a water treatment plant that we do not need.